Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to Dumagetti IELTS Speaking Part 1 video series with me, Trevor Gordon, your teacher. In today's lesson, we're going to look at weddings. As you can see, we have a traditional Western wedding, or UK wedding, more specifically, my country. This is very typical of a traditional wedding. And we have an Eastern wedding, typical in places like China, Malaysia, etc. I don't know exactly which country this is from. I believe it's Malaysia, but I could be wrong. So, weddings. So, the questions are: have you ever been to a wedding? Whose wedding was it? Where was it held? What clothes do people wear? Describe the wedding ceremony. What sort of gifts do people buy for the couple? What is the most common tradition of weddings in your country? So here we have a mixture of personal questions. Have you ever been to a wedding? Whose wedding was it? These are questions personally for you. Where was the wedding held? So these three questions are about your experience. Now, the other questions are general questions. What clothes do people wear at weddings in your country? Describe the wedding ceremony, a typical wedding ceremony. Again, a general question. What sort of gifts do people buy? General question. And the most common tradition. So remember, make sure that you understand the difference between a personal question about your experiences and a general question about things that usually happen in your country. So the reason I say that is because some students, when they're practicing, they see the questions as all being just general questions. So you have to be able to see the difference in the types of questions so you can answer them more correctly. Vocabulary. Now at this point you can stop the video, look at the words, translate some of them. I'm not sure if all of them translate directly, but you can look them up and find out the meanings. So we have bride, bridegroom, best man, bridesmaids, ushers, rings, vows, ceremony, reception, tying the knot, which is a phrasal verb, getting wed, which is also a phrasal verb, church, wedding hall, photos. Please feel free to add your own vocabulary to when you're speaking. Answering the questions. Answer. Supporting information, any extra relevant information. Those of you who watch the videos regularly know the format that I use, because it's very common in native English speakers to answer in this way. We give the answer, then we expand on the answer. That's very normal. Okay, have you ever been to a wedding? A few. Mainly family weddings. If there is a wedding in the family, we are obliged to go. But it depends on how far away they are from, that should say my house. If you're talking about yourself, you'll say my house. Sometimes they're in a different country, or city. So that's just given an example, a general example. If your family doesn't all live in the same city, sometimes you have to go to different countries or different cities for a wedding, especially if it's family. Now here underneath, again, the underlined things are explained, so please check them and stop the video and look at the other answers. Maybe one of those will be more suitable for you. Whose wedding was it? I don't know. My brother's wedding, a friend's, a work colleague. Let's use this. My brother's or sister's wedding. In my case, my brother's wedding. I was the best man and had to organise all of the important things such as the wedding rings, spending time with the groom on the evening before the wedding, along with making sure everything goes like clockwork. So that should say everything went like clockwork because it was in the past. But if you're answering generally, this is what the best man does. Where was it held? In my case, in a church. This is the most common venues for weddings, as most are based on religion. Churches are popular in Western countries. In many other countries, there are a variety of religions which are the basis for marriage, so the places will be different. What clothes do people wear? Depends on what type of wedding it is. For church weddings, it is more formal dress, whereas for other types of weddings, it varies from casual to specific dress types. Describe the wedding ceremony. Let's use self-made. Some couples write their own ceremonies and get the local pastors or vicars to preside over the ceremony. This is becoming more popular as less people are becoming religious, or less people are religious. In my country, that is certainly true. In England, the level of religion is declining. It has been declining for many, many years. So lots of people in England don't feel that they need a wedding in a church because they don't believe in God. So they have weddings in other forms. This is increasing. Again, this is just my country. What sort of gifts do people buy for the couple? Now here I've given only 3 answers. Household items, kitchenware, personal things. Let's use personal things. Personal things for the couple. Sometimes the couple spend all their money on the wedding and related things that they do not get anything for themselves. What is the most common tradition of weddings in your country? Let's say the best man speech. The best man speech is the time at the reception when the best man has to entertain the guests by talking about the groom, who is often his brother or best friends. This is one part of a wedding which is a highlight. So in England, the best man speech is one of the main parts of the day. And if you go on YouTube, for example, you will see hundreds of videos of best men making their speeches. And the idea is that he's supposed to talk about his brother and what he knows about his brother's new wife, for example, and talk about funny things, talking about growing up together and a whole variety of things. So the idea is to amuse. So I would suggest going to YouTube for fun, actually, and watch some best man speeches. Follow the English for practice, but also you can see that they are intended to be funny. Okay, that's the end of the lesson. Please spend time practicing these questions. Change the information if you need to. If you don't feel confident using your own information, please use the answers here provided for you. Focus more on your pronunciation and fluency rather than your grammar and vocabulary. Everything's important, but for this part of the speaking test, your pronunciation and fluency, how you connect everything together, is much more important than your grammar and vocabulary. But as I said before, don't overlook your grammar and vocabulary because they are still important. Again, We have an online course. It's a free online course that you can go for IELTS and grammar. Go to www.courses.domagettyielts.com and you can register for a free grammar course and free IELTS course to help you prepare for your test. That's the end of this video. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.